Hello everyone. And welcome to my shop. Alright, we're going to get both of these wheel horses working today. Need to get a rag and check some oil levels. I'll be changing the oil probably after I work them a little bit. Right there. Now, these 856s, these wheel horses, when they were first, originally, you had to unscrew the dipstick that's in the block, and I've modified them to where I've got these extended because I went to these mufflers to make them more quiet. All right. Now these both have sat all winter. They haven't done anything. So we're good there. Now I do need to check the hydraulic fluid in this, the transmission fluid, because this one's a hydrostat, where the other one is gear drive. These are both 1966 models, both 8 horsepower. That takes a 9/16 ratchet or wrench. But I think 65 may have been the first year that they went to a hydrostat transmission. And so this will be the second year of it. It looks good. Got a red tint to it, but it's still hard to see. The engines are the same, and but the frames are different than the way they had to bolt up that hydrostat transmission. So this 856 was my first one. My very first riding mower. I bought it used, and I've just kept it. It's just been such a great tractor. And I bought this sickle bar mower to do my front bank, which I'm going to show you here shortly. And even in first gear, this is a 3-speed manual transmission. Even in first gear, it went too fast. I was feathering the clutch too much. So I decided I'd pick me up a hydrostat where I could go slower. Well, first I tried to go with the 6-speed transmission, but I couldn't get it to bolt up right. Wheel horse went to a 6-speed, which is basically a 3-speed with high and low, sometime in the 70s. And the whole basic nomenclature was still the same, but it offset the pulleys, and I just didn't want to do all kinds of major welding and cutting. So instead of adapting this to a 6-speed transmission, I decided to leave it as it was, and I went and picked up this hydrostat from someone down in Florida, of all places. He was a relocator from Ohio, and all it did was mow. He had a barely used snow blade that goes with it, and like the sickle bar mower attachment, the snow blade, the belly mower, all that's interchangeable between these. But I decided to put the sickle bar on him. So he's got he's got a few jobs that he does a year, which once a week, once every 2 weeks during mowing season. and he gets in the spots where the 60-inch mower of my Kubota can't. So they both earned their keep, and actually the 856, the gear version, does a lot more things. I may do a separate video on it to show what all I can do with it. But anyway, so we're going to start them up here and see what we get. It normally starts a lot easier than this. Fuel on. I may have flooded him. Let's try him. Well, they both normally start a whole lot better than this. Choke's not working on the 856, so we'll do some work with the 876 and we'll come back and work on him. Now what I normally do is trim around this pond with the sickle mower here too. But as you can see down there, it's way too muddy. I got the zero turn stuck down there trying to get that close to the pond. I had to pull it out with my truck. So anyway, we'll just come back another day and do it. But that's the other chore that this sickle bar has. And it also is to go down along my fence rows. Just get real close where the mower came. But anyway, it sure beats a weed eater, let me tell you. I'm going to show you a few things, what I've done to modify this. Like I say, it's the model 876, which is the hydrostat version of the 1966 wheel horse. Now I added this dual spool right there, hydraulic spool, and this hydraulic ram here, those hoses, and this hydraulic ram right there. And I'm going to show you what it does. This is my transport bracket right here, so I'll take him off. Alright. Now, you see how it leans down some. So, I put hydraulics to it. Now watch here, I'm going to lower it. Then I'm going to raise it. You see that ram there. And then that lowers the arm and brings him up. Now it works a lot faster when it's got more RPM. And in order to get the hydraulics to work, I got to have it engaged the pump, which means it's wanting to roll, and the sector adjustment's just not perfect. It's just 1966. So anyway. And to kind of show you, there's the actual hydraulic pump being driven off the engine. And you can see the lines tapped on. Now, they did have a factory option for a lift for the mower deck, hydraulic. And I just made this two-spool valve. I didn't make it, I picked it up. It's actually for the D series wheel horse, which is the big boy. And I adapted it to this so I could have two spools. One to raise and lift the carriage, and the other to raise and lift the arm. So anyway, just some modifications I've done to it to work better for me. So that's my 876 and what it does for me. And the 856, I need to fix the choke on it. I'll show you what's wrong with him. Back him up a little bit. I can see moving my air compressor here. I'm gonna have to redo that whole corner. That air compressor's got to go more that way. But anyway, let's see if we can get a gander here. Look down there at the choke mechanism. Probably can't see it the way I'd want you to. So let's we'll go down here and try to show you. All right. As you can see, the choke's wide open. That's the choke arm right there. Now watch what happens. You see that? The clamp that holds it's moving instead of closing the choke. So anyway, that's an easy fix. So we'll get that fixed up real quick and let's see if he'll start right up. Alright, I don't know how well that's going to hook it up. Let's see how loose that screw is. It's very loose, okay. And we want him up somewhat. Well, let's see. There. That's how he should do. Now I had to custom make that clamp, and because the original one that was on there was it's far gone. Now I've known people to wrap tape or something around it to make it tighter. If that fails again, now I'll come up with a more permanent fix. But I think since the screw was loose, that was the only problem I had. And you know, actually tell you the truth, that's one of the first problems I've had out of this thing in so long. But that's a Carter carburetor. That's the best carburetor that you could have get on them, but you can't get them no more. And I had to replace the carburetor on the 876 over there, and it's a, oh, what's the name brand of it? I may open it up here and take a look. But it's not as good. It is not as good as all. You either set it up to where it starts easy, cold, and runs worse hot, or where it starts hard, cold, and runs better hot. So that's what I ended up having to do with this. And it's a real common brand, but anyway. So let's back him up a little bit. Let's see if he'll start now. And we can give it some choke. All right. Oh, listen to that battery. Still don't want to start. I might put a charge on it. All right. Well, looks like it's flooded now. Oh yeah, he's flooded. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Normally, it's a real dependable engine. I don't have this kind of trouble, but first start this year. Air cleaner looks good with the pre-filter. For over 30 years. To let him warm up some and burn all that flooded gas out. I have had to put another regulator on it. Now this uses a starter generator. So it's actually a special kind of regulator. It's 12 volt. See here, 3-speed. You can see kind of the difference in storage compartment between that and the 876 I showed earlier. I added the voltmeter. I actually had what was called a tiny tack here so I could watch the RPM, but it's only rated for like 7 years and died, so I haven't replaced it. Original gas tank, original tires. They're getting dry rotted, but they, I gotta air them up. But for what I do, I'm not no worry. Now that big sprocket is not, or pulley is not stock. I've added that to run an attachment I bolted on the front, and I'll talk about that later. And of course that's a 36-inch belly mower, which will go on the 876 too. So anyway, that's my little tractors. Well, if you're curious about that drip pan underneath the 876 here, that's because of the gearbox here for the sickle bar mower. Basically, you can consider it a total loss lubrication system, kind of like the old-timey flathead engines of the day that had exposed rocker arms, and rocker shafts and push rods, and the oil dripped down and just blew away. Well, this is kind of, there are bushings and seals for this when it was brand new, and it probably, when it was new, it did not leak, but it is so worn now that, and the probability of me finding the factory bushings and seals for this are long gone. Probably have something custom made. But what I end up doing is I put that drip pan underneath there, and that's 80/90 that's dripping out of it. That's a winter's worth there in the pan now. So I just keep it, I keep it topped off, and just and it doesn't lose enough to even be a problem. So sometimes you just got to live with leaks, especially if you're going to run old iron. So anyway, I can't think of anything else offhand to add right now. But both of them are really good little machines. They are little tractors. I've pulled my truck that got stuck in the mud, a Ranger pickup I used to have. I've pulled it out with that 856. So it's geared to do some work. I mean, of course, it's not a real tractor, but it's a lawn and garden tractor. So anyway, that's my wheel horses.